Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Today I am going to be showing you how to make these amazing engraved dog tags using your Cricut Maker or Maker 3 machine. These have turned out absolutely brilliantly and I can't wait to give them to my mum for her dogs when I see them next time. So let's jump straight in to the video and how to do these fabulous dog tags. Let's just quickly run through all the different supplies and materials that you're going to need to complete this project on your machine. So the first thing that you are going to need is a selection of either dog tags or whatever it is that you wish to engrave. Now I've got these dog tags that I bought on Amazon. I'll link everything down below for you anyway in the description so you can have a look as well. But I thought these ones were so cute. I actually got 6 of them. This is the 4 here, and then I've got the 2 others here that I've already engraved, and each one has got a different coloured paw print in the corner. You get a little jump ring with each one as well so that you can hang it on your dog's collar or on their harness or whatever. These I think were about £6, so they were a pretty good buy. They are stainless steel and they're quite thick actually compared to what I thought they were going to be like, but they're really good quality ones, so I'll link those down below for you. The other thing you're going to need is the Cricut engraving tip. Now this is the box of the one that I bought, and I got this during Amazon Prime Day or whatever they call it last year. I paid about £13 for it. It was pretty cheap at the time. I don't know whether it's still that price now. It is tip number 41 and that is depicted on the side of the tip. I did only buy the tip. I didn't buy the quick swap housing with it as well for that price because I'd already got quite a few of those. So when you're buying this, if you don't have any quick swap housings, you will need to buy that as well. I'm going to show you the differences between the quick swap housing now and the rotary cutter housing that you actually get with a Maker machine. I don't think you get it with a Maker 3 anymore, but some of you will actually have one of these in your kit box, and this looks very similar to this one, doesn't it? But this actual rotary blade is fixed onto this housing. You can't remove it. It doesn't have the plunger on the top like this one does. So just make sure that you don't mix that up with this particular tool because they are very similar to look at. So this is the tip here. As you can see, like I said, it has number 41 on the top of it, and it's got this really sharp little conical tip to it, and that's where the magic is going to happen and the engraving is going to take place. So in order to use this, all you need to do is press down this plunger and you just pop that on the bottom there, and then just lift your plunger up and it's now fully fixed onto there. And this is a little bit different to like your fine point blade and that sort of thing in the fact that this will twist around on the cog in your machine and it will move, and it just so that it creates a really nice fluid movement. The other thing you're going to need is some washi tape, painter's tape, masking tape, something like that, because what you'll need to do is fix down your dog tag to the center of your mat, and we don't want it to move. We want it to be really securely stuck down. So if you are using washi tape, I would recommend using the thicker one. This one here is from the Works. I'll link this for you as well down below. It comes in a big pack of about 25 different ones, but I find the thicker one to be better. I've got a ruler, and then you're going to need a strong grip mat. Now this one has seen better days. As you can see, it's covered in residue from chipboard from making Christmas decorations and jigsaw puzzles, but it'll still do the job and it's absolutely fine to use. So that's everything that you're going to need. Let's jump into Cricut Design Space now and get the designs done. Here we are then in Design Space. This is our home page, and we just need to go up the top to the right to New Project. I'm just going to replace what's on my screen, which actually was another dog tag design. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. What you're going to want to do is decide on the text that you want to go on your dog tag. So what I'm going to do is come over to text here, and I'm going to just type in my dog's name. So I'm using Lady for this one. And then obviously we can change our font and mess about with it the way that we would do normally if we were going to be making any other type of project. So first of all, what we need to do is go up to the operation type here at the top, and as you can see at the moment it is set to basic cut. So we need to change that to engrave so that our machine knows that it's supposed to be performing the engraving function. So if we just click on this drop down menu, we get all of the different functions that the machine can perform. So we've got basic cut, wavy cut, perforate, pen, foil, score, deboss, and there is engrave. So we're going to click on engrave, and as you can see now it's just turned it into this outline of the word lady. So now what I want to do is change my font here. So if I click on this font drop down, I'm going to get my font box pop up, and mine is always positioned over to this side of the screen. Yours might be different, but I just like to be able to see when I've clicked on something what it's going to look like on my actual project. You can move it around just by clicking on the top there if you want to, which is always a very handy thing to do. I've got stencil typed in here already because I chose this particular font for another one that I did recently, and I did like the way that it came out. It looks really nice on the dog tag. It's nice and easy to read as well. You could choose a more blocky font if you wanted to. Just this one here is another stencil one, but it is more blocky and less ladylike, I think, for my little doggy lady. So let's have a look what else we've got in the stencil options. I think I'm just going to go back to my Alyssa stencil because I really like that one. So I'm happy with that. Once I've selected that, it's going to change it on the screen here, and I can just click anywhere on my canvas and that text box is going to disappear there as well. So this is our text that we have got here now. Now what we need to do is measure the actual dog tag. Now I've already done this, and I know that my dog tag in reality only sort of allows me to write 2 centimeters worth of text on there. So I'm going to shrink this box down just by using the drag handle on the side to about 2 centimeters. So now the width of my text is 2.08 centimeters by 0.94. What I'm going to do is just zoom in using this little handle at the bottom. Let's move that over again into the centre. We want to get it quite big so we can see what's going on. So I'm happy with the size of that. It's going to perform quite nicely on my dog tag. Now, can you see these little overlaps here on the D and on the Y and the D here? So that is basically because each one of these letters currently is individual. So what we need to do is combine the letters. So we can do this in 2 different ways. We can either come down to combine, we can unite it if we want to, and that takes them away. So that makes that into one nice fluid looking word. We can undo unite. The other thing that we can do is come again down to combine and click on weld. Weld is a permanent function, so you can't undo it once you've done it unless you do it instantaneously. If you carry on working on your project and then you come back to try and undo it, it's going to be very difficult to do so. So if you're not entirely sure that this is what you're happy with, definitely just use unite and steer yourself away from weld. What we're going to do next then is just sort out the placement of our design on our cutting mat for when it engraves, to make sure that it engraves in exactly the right spot that we want it to. So the first thing that I'm going to do now before I go through to make it is just take note of where this little center crosshair is on my design. So I'm not going to be too overly fussy. I'm just going to place it by eye and eyeball it. I'm not going to measure it because it's kind of impossible to do so, but as long as you're happy with your placement once you move through to the next screen, it's going to give you a really good idea of where to put the dog tag on your cutting mat. So this crosshair obviously is just to the right of the A and a little bit further away from that, so I know I need to place my center about there. Let's go through to make it. So our little lady looks really tiny, doesn't it, up in that top left corner of the mat. Now, because I use centimetres for my grid lines if I use them on my canvas, my mat is positioned as if I were going to use the centimetres at the top and on the left hand side for my placement. But in this instance I'm actually going to use the inches, and I know they're upside down, but you can still work out where it needs to be. So we're going to place our dog tag in the centre of our strong grip cutting mat. So what we want to do is just pull it down here to be roughly in the centre of the mat, and that is actually the 6 by 6 line, the axes there. So you can see where that's got to be. Now what you can do is zoom in on that design just by using that zoom box at the bottom like you would on your canvas. Now do you remember when I said we need to place our lady so that our centre crosshair is where it was on the canvas? So what we need to do is just very carefully move that, and I think that is going to be about how it was on the mat. So that is about right, and I am perfectly happy with that. If I go through to continue now, it's going to find my machine, and then it's going to ask me to choose my base material. Now because I don't engrave very often, I don't have any bookmark materials for my engraving. So what I need to do is go to browse all materials, and then because you are relatively limited on what you can engrave, you haven't got a huge list of things to look through. That is it. So I am going to go down here and I'm going to choose from the foil and metal menu stainless steel, and then I'm going to click on done. And now it's telling me on the screen that I need to load the engraving tool into clamp B, and again it's telling me that that is tip number 41, and then I need to load the mat. So let's jump back over to my desk and get this mat set up. In this pack then that I got, there were 6 different colours, and this is the one I've already done. I've done the white one. So I think what I'm going to do for Lady is the red one, because she is a redhead. So I think that'll be perfect for her. Let's take this cover off the mat. So as I said before, we're going to need our tape. So either painter's tape, washi tape, or masking tape will work. Let's take that out, and there's the jump ring. Put that to one side. So the reason that I chose these bone shaped ones was because I thought it's going to be super duper easy to find the centre of this design, because you've got the little hole at the top there, and then you've got this line across as well. It's really easy to envision a centre line across there. So when you're choosing what type of dog tag or whatever you're going to be engraving, try and have a quick look and see how easy it's going to be to find the centre of it. So what I'm going to do then is place this onto my mat. I'm just going to pop it down, and then I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see a little bit better. So on the mat you can see we've got a cross here, and I wish that they would do this on the actual mat on the screen, because it would make it so much easier, wouldn't it? So what we're going to do is just pop this centre here, there. So we've got a line running straight through the centre of our dog tag that side. And then here at the top in the circle you can see you have got the line running through the top of that hole for the jump ring as well. Just going to make sure it's nice and straight. There we go, that's perfect. It's holding on, but obviously because it's quite smooth it could still move around. So what we want to do is just tape it down with a little bit of this tape. So I'm just going to do that next. You want to try and tape it down as best you can. And of course with this you'll be able to engrave both sides if you want to, but this is just the top side of it that I'm going to do today with you. You're not limited to just dog tags either. You can engrave all sorts of things. I've seen people do cake knives for weddings and cake cutters, slices, cake slicers and all that sort of stuff. So that is nicely positioned on that mat. It's in the centre. You can see the shiny side of my dog tag. So it's really well stuck down to that mat, so it's definitely not going to move during the engraving process. Let's move over to the machine and get that set up now and start the actual process of the engraving. Here we are then at my machine. So what I'm going to do is just open up clamp B, which is the clamp on the right hand side. Here's my engraving tip then already in the quick swap housing. So what I'm going to do is just pop that into there and then close up that clamp. It's not very easy to do with one hand. Then I'm going to just move these star wheels over out the way because I don't want those to run over my dog tag. Next you'll want to just get your mat and just pop it into the machine just in between the two plastic guides either side and just hit the insert mat button. Okay, that is in there now. We are happy to just hit go and the engraving process will start. First of all, the machine's just going to take the carriage over to the right hand side and it's just going to check that you've got the correct tool for the job in the machine. If you haven't, it'll come up on your computer screen and tell you that it couldn't detect the tool, and it will ask you to change the tool to make sure it's the one that you need. Because this was such a small project, it literally took seconds to actually engrave it, and as you can see, it's on the dog tag. It looks really good and it hasn't overlapped with the tape at all, which is perfect. So let's peel the tape off. I might actually save this tape just to use again for another project because we might as well. Take that off. There we go. I'm just going to quickly pop that to one side and just put the cover back onto this Seen Better Days strong grip mat. So here is the finished design. It looks lovely, it's nicely centered, it looks great on there. The engravings come out lovely and really clear, and it's actually a pretty decent size, even though when you looked at it on the canvas it looked really tiny, didn't it? But actually when it's engraved onto the item it looks wonderful. So I think what I'm going to do is do a design on the back, just maybe the address or phone number, probably just the phone number will fit on there. You could also put some bits and bobs in the corners if you wanted to, so you could put another paw print if it didn't have it on it here, for instance, if you wanted to. So many different things that you could do with the engraving tool. Here are the two finished dog tags that I've made today then for Lady and Maisie. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. If you have indeed enjoyed it, I'd love to see you again for another, so don't forget to subscribe. Drop me any questions and comments that you might have down below and I'll do my very best to come back to you as soon as I can with some answers. So have a fantastic week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you really soon for another one. Bye!